Imagination, Chapter 5, Silk Light. I had finally finished Zio's story. A nice ending, if I may say so myself. Apparently none of my readers had figured out what the end was going to be, even though I had put quite some hints into the story itself. That was good news. The bad news was that I had come down with a rather nasty case of the flu, so I couldn't read all the comments that people left for the final chapter. It was rather infuriating. Whenever I felt a little better and tried to look at the screen, my head started to hurt as if I had a hangover and my eyes started to water. Even the medicine the doctor had given me didn't do anything to help. It only made me extremely sleepy. Finally, my father came up with an idea. He still hadn't forgiven me for ruining his best pair of shoes, but he took pity on me. Long story short, he made me a grog. Basically high percentage alcohol with a bit of water and sugar. That stuff is then heated and drunk in one gulp. According to him, it's the best medicine against colds/flus. One glass of it and I basically collapsed on my bed. The heated alcohol made me sweat profusely before I fell into blissful sleep. Warm. Warm and fuzzy? Oh well, I didn't care. It felt quite nice, so I snuggled up to it even more. Did I mention that I'm kinda snuggly when I'm sick? For the first time in days I was feeling comfortable. My headache was gone, my nose wasn't running as badly as before, and the smell my nose picked up was more than pleasant. The moment I noticed something was wrong was when something began to stroke the back of my head. Something that felt pretty light, almost as if someone was using a feather on me. My eyes snapped open and I looked into a pair of big, mismatched eyes. One of them was green like Luna's, the other was brown like my own. The horn on the midnight blue Alicon mare next to me was glowing and I noticed that there was a pink glow around my body. Now, had this been the first time I had seen one of my creations come to life, I most likely would have sent myself to an insane asylum. As it was, however, I was wondering what kind of horror was awaiting me this time. After all, I had just finished her story and had given it a good end. There was no reason she should be here, was there? And what the hell was she doing to me? I couldn't feel anything wrong with me. In fact, I was feeling much better than before. Okay, don't get me wrong, Silk, but why are you here and what is that spell? I asked her as I drew back a bit. The teenage Alicon began to chuckle as her wings embraced me to pull me closer. I had to admit that I didn't really mind that. Her coat was like silk, true to her name, and her magical light was just as gentle. You wouldn't imagine that this Alicon had been the original Nightmare Moon. I was wandering in the darkness and my father showed me the light. I was driven by hatred and my father gave me peace. Afterwards I asked him how he knew that it was me in there and how he knew how to cure me. He told me that you paid him a little visit in his laboratory when he was desperate to figure out what was wrong with my mother. I learned that you were the one who created us and who helped to set things right. It was that fact that convinced me that I owed you something. I'm here to repay that debt. My special talent is medicine, just like my father's. She whispered into my ear. I realized what she was saying, but my head took a while to process it. Okay, you're telling me that you are using regeneration magic on me? Is that even possible? I'm not part of your universe. I protested half-heartedly. I had absolutely no desire to pull away from her, if I was completely honest. Her warmth seemed to seep into me, while her right wing caressed my back carefully. Her chin rested on my head, so we didn't have eye contact anymore. Shh, do not worry, I know what I am doing. I may not be a trained doctor yet, but I have learned quite a bit from my father. Now try to relax and let me take care of you. Let me thank you appropriately for the life you have given me. She whispered, and I felt even more sleepy when I had drunken the grog. For the first time in several days, I didn't feel any pain and relaxed completely. I could feel muscles loosen that had been tense for quite some time. To this day, I do not know if it was her magic, her scent, or her warmth that had this effect on me. Maybe it was a combination of the three? In the end, it didn't matter. It had been years since I had felt another next to me, and I decided to just enjoy the sensation. It didn't matter that she was a fictional character or even that she was a pony. All that mattered at that moment was that she was someone, some pony, who really cared for me. How I knew that? Simple. Regeneration magic doesn't work on someone you have a grudge on. After some minutes of this, I drifted off to sleep again. I woke up to my father banging on my bedroom door. Usually this was a cause for some annoyance for me, yet all I felt was a strange calm. My body felt good. There was no fever, no sweating, and I could see clearly. This last part was what finally made me pause for a moment. I could clearly see my glasses on my nightstand, yet my vision wasn't blurred. My father's pounding grew louder and more forceful as I finally jumped out of bed. No trace of my flu remained. When I lost my pajama pants, a second pause was in order. I looked down on myself, not believing my eyes. I had lost at least 40 kilograms. I didn't have a six-pack or anything, but I imagined that I wasn't overweight anymore. When my father finally just opened the door, growing impatient with me, his mouth hung open as he saw me. "You gotta tell me how you did that," was all he was able to say for quite some time. He kept bugging me for my secret and wanting me to see a doctor after that. Apparently losing that much weight overnight was supposed to be a health hazard.